Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Winter Warriors Live. This is Jody Brozick here with head coach Dan Akers. Dan, Winter Warriors returning from the North 2-0. Give me your thoughts and feedback, takeaways from the performance coming back from Eagle Butte.
Well, I think that we did exactly what we needed to do. We talked about going in there, we wanted to play, better and do things right and making a step forward for Bowbridge. And I thought also, they were coming off a pretty big win for them, and any momentum we could get right away would definitely help. Maybe take the heart out of them, I guess, so to speak. And running that opening kickoff back was huge. You can see I think they were excited to play us, and we're excited for the game. And you just kind of see it just there, just let on them right there, and then a 3 and out, and then another long touchdown. And, reminiscence of, I think, some things we saw in the second quarter of Mobridge, and then even going back to last year where we just kind of started when we were scoring waves and big plays, and really never took the pedal off. And we were able to get some other kids in there. Some things that stuck out. I thought our punt returns were good. It gave us short field, and we returned all those nice. So our return game, all in general, we have a only kick return we had. We ran it back. Punt returns were set us up in good shape. And defensively, we just didn't allow many things. So, we were the better team, and we went out and played like that, and took care of business. So I was happy. I really was happy the way we performed.
I'll knock on wood for you this week. It appeared that your Warriors got off that field clean last Friday night without injury. Is that a pretty good, accurate statement?
Yeah, and we're obviously we'll take that 2 weeks and nothing major, and I think the fact the way that those two games have played out allow us to get other people in. That protects you a little bit to some aspect, but the downside of that is you're always worried about conditioning and what kind of game shape you're going to be when we get to a fourth quarter. But the positive side of that is you're going to stay healthier, and we saw that last year. So hopefully it continues. You never know when an injury is going to happen. You happen in practice anytime. But yes, correct.
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood. We're healthy right now.
This weekend's the home opener for the Winter Warriors. Always a special night, as is opening night, but home opener. Do you sense a higher level of energy and preparation this week?
We've had a great week of practice. I don't know if it's necessarily because of home opener. I do know their scout team has looked this gave us the best look we've seen all year, and I think part of it is they finally had to play a game on their own, and they played well, and a sense of confidence left up. Wednesday's practice was really, really good. Our scout team gave us a great look. It's only going to make our varsity better. That varsity doesn't necessarily like that. That's okay, because they're competing. We saw some things from some of the younger guys. Like every once in a while, sometimes players, the light bulb just goes boom, and they're like, "Whoa, where did he come from? Look where he's playing now." That physicalness is usually what it takes, and then all of a sudden they're just hitting people. We saw a lot of that this week, and so I think we had good energy this week. I think that pregame was definitely a higher level, just because the field's all painted now, the W's out there, they got to run through that. So yes, they're excited for the home opener, and we're excited for our fans to come watch us.
With that home opener, it's going to bring a familiar foe to winter, the Wagner Red Raiders. Somebody, conference opponent, but also a special opponent going back all the way to that 2009 semifinal. Do you expect anything different out of Wagner offensively than you've seen here in the recent past?
Not really. Back in 2009, they were a power running team. Good. They were really good. That was a heck of a game in 2009, and they continued to be very, very, very competitive team up through 2012. And it really kind of, fallen off a little bit from what those standards that they had. The numbers have dropped, and they just haven't had as many really good football players that they had back then. So they've kind of adapted. They're spread it out a little bit more. But the one thing that they've always did against us, even back in 2009, is a screen game, and they love to run screens. And that's what was a big focus for us this week. They like to be out of double slot, but they'll even go empty sometimes, motion a little bit. I don't expect to see a lot of pro eye or any double tight eye like they would have ran in 2009 when they had really good line and running backs. They're going to try to spread us out and use their athletes out in the space. And so it's a fine line when you see teams that like to screen a lot, because we talked last week about we need to get pressure on some quarterbacks. Now it's back to a fine line again. So we've kind of changed up some things where we have hopefully a couple watching screens and getting pressure by everybody else. And if they try to run the ball, we can shut that down right away. I know 2 years ago they ran the ball one time as a quarterback sneak. So I would not be surprised if that's the same philosophy coming in tonight, that they're going to screen us and chuck it around. But they threw 6 interceptions against Beersford last week, so they may be thinking that's not the right thing to do. So I don't know. We just need to be ready for all formations. Defensively, they run a 3-5, and we'll see I told the guys this week that their front 3 DTs will be the 3 best we've seen. Truman Ash, the state heavyweight wrestler, and a Lensing kid. I can't remember the other guy's name, but they're good sized and they're physical. So I think our guys are excited about that, and we need to execute an offense and do the things we've been doing. But that's kind of, in general terms, what I would
expect out of the Red Raiders.
Yep.
You referenced it earlier. Sub-varsity, or the JV, is coming off a 54-0 victory. You weren't at the game. You kind of talked in general about that squad. What or who is standing out from these younger kids as this young season is developing?
Number one, I would anticipate our JV to be pretty good. We're in a unique situation with 18 seniors. So, although one of our juniors is playing JV, so that being alone, I would expect our JV to be pretty competitive. And they need that JV time. They're getting some varsity time too. But in most years, we would have half of them probably starting without a big senior class. So, those guys have been on the field quite a bit. Justice Gregg and Carter Brickman, Riley Calhoun, and he doesn't start for us and played only a quarter over there. Levi McClanahan. Those are solid football players. And so we would expect our JV team to be very, very competitive this year. It would be disappointing if they weren't. As some of the sophomores, is more of a extremely tall, big class. Hopefully they fill out with Cold Shoulders, Tyson Westnorps, and those guys. And then freshmen got quite a bit of play, and I think that the coaches really thought Trevor Peters and Philip Jurgensen and Oscar Pravchek played pretty much the whole game and did very well. So we got kind of an interesting mix. We got good numbers at JV. We go to Wagner Jamboree. We just did Wagner play Wagner. Now we go to Wagner Jamboree.
Wagner week.
Yeah, on Saturday. And they'll do a good job. I think the freshmen will probably specifically, maybe a couple sophomores in there will play a couple games by themselves. And the JV will play a couple games by themselves. But that's a good jamboree to kind of mix them both. But I think they were happy to get on the field. We had the Jones County White River game that got postponed later, and hopefully we get that in. But, they've been practicing for about a full month without their first game. So that's a long time. And I think after the first game is what I referenced earlier on Wednesday. They come back, and we just saw them really confident, excited. Hey, we're actually in our football season now, too. So that was good to see.
Very good. Dan, good luck tonight's game. Thank you for taking the time to join me here on Winter Warriors Live.
All right, thanks, Jody.